Do you have trouble understanding some of the questions in the N-400 application? Or are you not sure what certain words mean? Well, then this video is for you. Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm Jackie and I'm here to help you pass your US naturalization interview. The citizenship interview consists of mainly 3 parts: the English reading and writing test, the civics test, and reviewing your N-400 application. The purpose of reviewing your N-400 application is to make sure you are eligible to apply for citizenship and to check that your answers are accurate and up to date. In addition, the officer is also testing your ability to speak and understand English, which is one of the requirements to pass the interview. So it's important for you to understand the questions on the N-400 application. Today, I'll go over Part 12, questions 1 through 13 of the N-400 application. I'll go over each question, explain some of the terms, and provide some tips along the way. So are you ready? Let's get started. First, let's go over the term, have you ever? Have you ever? This term is used in a lot of questions in Part 12. It just means in your lifetime. In your lifetime. It's not the last 3 years or the last 5 years. It's from your birth until now. Next is the word claim. Claim. Here it means to say something without proof, usually not true. To say something without proof, usually not true. The question related to this word is, have you ever claimed to be a US citizen? That means, have you ever said you are a US citizen? For example, if you applied for a benefit that's only for US citizens, you may have told people that you are a US citizen because you wanted that benefit, such as a certain job maybe. So hopefully your answer is no. Next, register. Register. This just means to fill out a form. To fill out a form. Vote. Vote. This means to officially choose someone to represent you. Officially choose someone to represent you. And we call the person you choose a candidate. So, register to vote means to fill out a form to choose a candidate. In the US, you have to be a US citizen and register before you can vote. The question on the N-400 is, have you ever registered to vote in any federal, state, or local election in the United States? That means, have you ever filled out a form to choose a candidate in a US election? Next, question 3. Have you ever voted in any federal, state, or local election in the United States? This means, have you ever chosen a candidate in a US election? Hopefully your answer is no to both. The officer might ask you, why is that? Which means, why didn't you register to vote or vote in a US election? Do you know why? Because you're not a US citizen yet. So you can say, Because I'm not a US citizen yet, but hopefully soon. Because I'm not a US citizen yet, but hopefully soon. Next, we have hereditary titles and inherited titles. Hereditary titles and inherited titles mean you have to be a member of a family of a king or a queen. For example, a prince or a princess. To be a member of the family of a king or a queen. For example, a prince or a princess. Order of nobility. Order of nobility. This means a position given by a king or queen, like a knight. A position given by a king or queen, like a knight. So, question 4A asks, do you now have, or did you ever have, a hereditary title or an order of nobility in any foreign country? This means, do you have a title like a prince or a princess or a position given by a king or queen in another country? If you answer yes, the officer will ask you the next question. Let's first go over the term give up. Give up. This means to not have any more. To not have any more. For example, if you say you're going to give up smoking, it means you won't smoke anymore. Question 4B asks, are you willing to give up any inherited titles or orders of nobility that you have in a foreign country at your naturalization ceremony? This just means, are you willing to not have these titles anymore at the oath ceremony? Your answer should be yes, because during the oath ceremony, you have to promise to be loyal to the United States and give up all titles and orders of nobility. Okay, let's go over the next few terms. First, legally incompetent. Legally incompetent. This means you can't make important decisions for yourself. You can't make important decisions for yourself. Next, declared. Declared. Here it means to be told by a judge or a doctor. To be told by a judge or a doctor. So, declared legally incompetent means told by a doctor that you can't make important decisions for yourself. Told by a doctor that you can't make important decisions for yourself. Next is confined. Confined. It means forced to stay in a place. Forced to stay in a place. Next is mental institution. Mental institution. This is a hospital for people with mental illness. A hospital for people with mental illness. So combining these two, confined to a mental institution means forced to stay in a hospital for people with mental illness. Forced to stay in a hospital for people with mental illness. Now let's take a look at question 5. Have you ever been declared legally incompetent or been confined to a mental institution? Let's break the questions into two parts. First, have you ever been declared legally incompetent? This means, were you ever told by a doctor that you couldn't make important decisions for yourself? The next part is, have you ever been confined to a mental institution? Were you ever forced to stay in a hospital for people with mental illness? There's a couple other possible ways the officer might ask this. Did you ever get labeled legally incompetent? Are you legally incompetent? Were you ever declared legally incompetent? Were you ever isolated as a patient in a mental institution? Were you ever a patient in an institution for the mentally ill? Have you ever been a patient in a mental institution? Were you ever confined to a mental institution? All right, next we'll go over some questions and terms about taxes. First, owe. Owe. This just means to need to pay. Everybody has to pay, right? To need to pay. For example, if I owe Janet $50, it means I need to pay Janet $50. Next, overdue. Overdue. This means late for a payment. Late for a payment. So, overdue taxes means you didn't pay your taxes on time, or your taxes are late. You didn't pay your taxes on time, or your taxes are late. Let's look at question 6. Do you owe any overdue federal, state, or local taxes? This means, do you need to pay any money to the government because you are late on a payment? A little tip here. If you answer yes, make sure you have a payment plan with the IRS and have been making regular payments. Next one is file a tax return. File a tax return. This means to send tax paperwork to the government. To send tax paperwork to the government. For most of us, we need to do this every year, and paying taxes shows good moral character. So, question 7a asks, have you ever not filed a federal, state, or local tax return since you became a lawful permanent resident? This means, have you ever not sent in your tax paperwork since you got your green card? If you always file your taxes, then you answer no. You can say, no, I've always filed my taxes since I got my green card. No, I've always filed my taxes since I got my green card. Or, no, I've always filed my taxes jointly with my spouse since I got my green card. No, I've always filed my taxes jointly with my spouse since I got my green card. But it's also okay to not file taxes if you have a valid reason. For example, yes, I didn't file taxes in 2019 because my income was below the filing threshold. Yes, I didn't file taxes in 2019 because my income was below the filing threshold. Or, yes, my parents claim me as a dependent on their tax returns. Yes, my parents claim me as a dependent on their tax returns. Sometimes the officer might ask this question differently. Instead of asking you, have you ever not filed? The officer might ask, have you always filed your taxes since you became a green card holder? Or, do you pay your taxes every year? In this case, if you've always filed your taxes since you became a green card holder, then you should answer yes instead. So make sure to pay attention to the officer. If you have any more questions about taxes, make sure to check out this video. All right, a lot of applicants are confused by this next term, non-US resident. Do you know what that means? Non-US resident. It sounds complicated, but all it means is someone who doesn't live in the US. Someone who doesn't live in the US. If you don't live in the US, you don't have to pay certain taxes, for example, state taxes. But if you are a green card holder and are planning to apply for citizenship, you shouldn't call yourself a non-US resident on any tax return. Let's look at the question on the N-400 application. If you answer yes to question 7A, then you will be asked, did you consider yourself to be a non-US resident? Which means, have you ever said you didn't live in the US on any tax return? If you answer no to question 7A, then you'll jump to question 8, which is similar. Have you ever called yourself a non-US resident on a federal, state, or local tax return since you became a lawful permanent resident? And this means, have you ever said that you didn't live in the US on any tax return since you got your green card? Hopefully you answer no to both of these questions. Next, the term member. Member. This means a person in a group that comes together to do something. A person in a group that comes together to do something. For example, because of your religion, you join a church. You're a member of the church. Or because you're a doctor, you join the National Medical Association. You're a member of the National Medical Association. Next, organization. Organization. This is a group of people with the same idea. A group of people with the same idea. Question 9 asks, have you ever been a member of, involved in, or in any way associated with any organization, association, fund, foundation, party, club, society, or similar group in the United States or in any other location in the world? This question just means, are you a member of any organized group? Other possible ways that the officer can ask this question are you affiliated with any organization? Do you belong to any group or organization? Are you a member of any organization? Are you part of any organization? Have you participated in any organization? Are you involved in any organization? If you answer yes, the officer might ask you some of the following questions. What is the purpose of the group? What is your role in the organization? Do you hold any position in the group? How long have you been a member? Are you still an active member? Are you still part of the organization? The next term is associated with. Associated with. This means to be connected to. To be connected to. The next term is Communist Party. Communist Party. This is a group that believes the government should own and control everything, like North Korea. A group that believes the government should own and control everything, like North Korea. So question 10A asks, have you ever been a member of or in any way associated, either directly or indirectly, with the Communist Party? This means, were you ever a member of a group that believes the government should own and control everything, like North Korea? Next, Totalitarian Party. Totalitarian Party. This is a group that believes the government should control everything that people do. A group that believes the government should control everything that people do. So question 10B asks, have you ever been a member of or in any way associated, either directly or indirectly, with any other totalitarian party? This means, were you ever a member of a group that believes the government should control everything that people do? All right, next one. Terrorist organization. Terrorist organization. This is a group that uses violence to hurt people or the government. A group that uses violence to hurt people or the government. And terrorist. Terrorist. That is a person that uses violence to hurt people or the government. A person that uses violence to hurt people or the government. So, question 10C says, have you ever been a member of or in any way associated, either directly or indirectly, with a terrorist organization? This means, were you ever a member of a group that uses violence to hurt people or the government? All right, the next term is advocate. Advocate. This means to support or to work for. To support or to work for. Overthrow. Overthrow. To remove a government from power by force. To remove a government from power by force. So, question 11 says, have you ever advocated, either directly or indirectly, the overthrow of any government by force or violence? This means, have you ever supported the removal of any government by force or violence? Next is persecute. Persecute. This means to hurt someone badly because of different religious or political beliefs. To hurt someone badly because of different religious or political beliefs. Let's take a look at question 12. Have you ever persecuted, either directly or indirectly, any person because of race, religion, national origin, membership in a particular social group, or political opinion? This just means, have you ever hurt someone badly because of their race, religion, where they're from, their social group, or political views? All right, last question we'll go over today. During World War II, between March 23, 1933 and May 8, 1945, Germany had a Nazi government. Question 13 is related to that. So if you weren't born during that time, you can just skip this question. But if you were born during that time, all question 13 means is, did you work under Hitler or the Nazis? Hopefully your answer is no. All right, that's it for today. I'll go over the rest of part 12 in future videos, and you can check them out here. In the meantime, check out other videos on my channel to help you ace your naturalization interview. Good luck, and I'll see you next time. Bye.